Hello, welcome to video training. We'll be covering accounts payable, level 1, chapter 3, select and print checks. Okay, from the main menu, hit accounts payable. You'll see an option here called select and print checks. Select it. Okay, what it's asking me is it's saying, okay, what I want to do is I want to see all the checks that I need to pay between these two dates. It's looking at the due date, the date I'm supposed to pay it. So if today is the 16th and I wanted to pay all my bills and get all the bills that would due up until the end of the month, I probably would want to do this. Select the calendar and say, okay, I want to see everything. I want to pay everything up that's due from any date between this and this. Obviously, you can give it a start date. Most people don't want a start date. They just want to put the date that they want to pay the bills up to. So I want to pay all my bills that are due up to the end of the month. Select OK. Now what it'll do, it'll go through your payables and select every single person or every single vendor that has amount due. Now if you look at what it's looking at on the screen here, it's basically telling me that, for example, Massachusetts Electric, I owe them $1,600. The amount due based on the date at the top here, from this date to that date, is only $329. So if I wanted to pay my bills, I'd be cutting a check for $329 for this particular vendor. Notice that the amount I'm paying right now is none. I need to select the ones that I want to pay. If I select everything, it's going to be $7,600. Notice what it says on the screen here. F12 to print checks, escape to exit. So if I hit escape, nothing will happen. If I hit F12, in this case, nothing will happen because I haven't selected any checks to print. But it also says right-click to display vendor. So if you wish to see, okay, do I really want to pay that? What makes up that $329? If you right-click, you'll get your vendor display where you can see exactly, okay, is the two entries here that need to be paid. If I need more information, obviously I can select on them, see when it was put in, what the invoice date is, the date that I was supposed to pay it, obviously. I could actually see the general ledger entries that were made for that particular entry. If I go up here, I can actually see all the different entries that are for this particular vendor. Is the one that's on hold. Now why is that on hold? That's not going to show up. It's not going to print out a check. It's only going to print checks for things that are set for pay, and the due date, the date that it's due, is less than this date here between these two dates. So if in fact I decide I want to cut a check for the Mass Electric, I would left click. Notice there's a Y there, and notice that the amount to pay is now $329. If I look at this and say Verizon, I owe them $344. There again, if I right click, I can see exactly what I owe for. I can see when's the last time I wrote a check. And if I want to pay them, I would select yes. Now I'm up to $634. If I look at the cleaning company, yes, I want to pay them. Maybe this I want to pay that. Maybe I want to pay that. So I've selected those, everything but Yamaha, which means I'm going to write checks totaling $2,224. If I select that, now I'm writing checks $7,600. If I change my mind, if you select anything that you've selected already, and you can select it using the mouse or using the up and down arrow key. For example, if I decide not to pay Yamaha, it'll take it off the list, which means I'm only going to cut checks for $2,200. So it's relatively simple. Now I have two options right now. If I hit the escape key, we'll have done absolutely nothing. If I hit F12, it is now going to print, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 checks, actually 5 checks, totaling $2,200, and it'll print the readmittance for each check. So now let's print the checks. I'm going to hit F12. It now basically says I'm going to print a total of 5 checks. There's the total amount that's going to be taken out of my checking account. So are you going to pay the bills and write checks? Are you sure you want to do this? I can still say no, I don't. I'm going to hit F12. And now it says, okay, you're writing checks. What checking account are you going to be writing the checks from? You would now hit OK. It's saying, okay, I'm starting off with check number 209. If that's not right, you could put the number. Now it's going to write 5 checks. So the first one's going to be 209, and each subsequent check will be added one to it. If you were paying all those with an auto deduction and you selected auto deduction, it would auto deduct all those ones that I've selected. So normally you would just say, hit OK. What is the date that you want printed on this check? Well, maybe you told people that you sent the money in last week, so let's put the 9th. Now it's basically asking me one more question. Separate readmittance report for each check with more than 15 items. Well, what that's basically saying is that, on each check, it'll print a readmittance of 16 different items. So if you're paying 15 or less, it'll print it on the readmittance on the check, which is the next page. If you happen to be paying a vendor where there may be more than 15, do you want to print a report for that vendor? So you'd put that piece of paper in that would actually say, list all the checks that you're paying. So you could say yes if you wish, or the default is normally no. Do you want a separate readmittance used? Yes, I do. Now, what that would actually do is if you said I did not want that to be done, then what it would do, it would actually use up another check, which is sometimes somewhat wasteful. Most people actually will put a separate report, or if you wanted to have it where, there again, you'd be wasting a check. You would now select the printer of where you wanted to print this to. And now, obviously, we're not going to be aligning the checks. They're on a laser printer, and we would now print our checks. Here's our readmittance. Here's all the checks that we printed. Here's where it's totaling. This is what's been paid. Okay, we have now just printed a bunch of checks. This ends this session, and I'll be moving on to the next chapter.